Here.
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 Here. Here.
All right, item number C, discussion items. Housekeeping item number 3, we'll move to the end of the meeting this morning. And with that, we'll start with, first item on the agenda is GO bond sale for campus development project. And Bill Summer will kick us off.
Yeah, I'll just kick you off from here as we have Doug Green on Zoom this morning to go over the results of our sale. We did sell bonds on the 19th, and the mayor and city administrator did sign off on those, which you had authorized previously. So I'll turn it over to Doug, and you can just review the sale a bit. You must be muted. We can't hear you.
Nope.
No?
One second, Doug. You're not muted. I think it's on our end.
Otherwise, I'll head to the podium and we'll do this, because I know we're short on time.
Oh, we do have a lot of.
There you go.
That's something.
Doug, plug that back in. I think it's our speakers. We had the wrong speakers selected.
Not hearing you. I'm going to head to the podium to keep us rolling. Okay, you're there.
All right, great. Good morning, everyone. As Bill mentioned, we did sell a little bit differently. Sold on to a greater council because the previous day was.
Doug, we're having trouble hearing you.
It's on the computer.
Okay. You know what? Let me run up, and if I miss something, then you chime in. So, good morning. Like I said, we did sell bonds on the 19th. These are the bonds to finance the infrastructure project up by the RTC and that housing development, the campus view development. The par amount of the bonds was $1,670,000 with a reoffering premium of $26,275. The bidder selected was Northland Securities. They had the lowest true interest cost. That's factoring everything in, including underwriter's discount at 3.83. You will see also on your desk attached the debt service schedule. You'll see that goes out to February 1st, 2048. This whole bond issue is structured around the tax increment that would flow in to fund those bonds. If you recall, that we established a TIF district so that the increased value that's created by the homes up there, those taxes are going to be captured, used to pay the bonds, to pay for the infrastructure in place of special assessments over that time. We did still levy the assessments, so in the event that there isn't enough increment, we will bill assessments then to make up for that difference. There's a little bit of shortfalls in the early years, and we saw that just as interest rates were rising. But overall, you can see we are projecting a surplus. So we'll see when increment starts to come in, we start to make payments. I'll probably be back to you to talk to you and update you about that at that time. We may need to do a small interfund loan that would pay back with this surplus to kind of take care of itself. We'll evaluate that when that actually comes in. This surplus shortfall also factors in 105% of the debt service for a little bit of a cushion there. So hopefully this will actually all flow out positive the entire time, but early on, just a few years there, we could have a slight deficit. So before you is a resolution providing for the issuance and sale of the $1,670,000 general obligation tax increment revenue bond series 2022A. And again, the mayor and administrator have signed off on this the day of the sale. Did I miss anything, Doug? All right.
Thank you, Bill. And council, just a reminder, we will be acting this morning as council on item number 1 and 2. Anybody have any questions for Bill or Doug?
I'll offer that.
I'll second it, Your Honor.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Anthony. All in favor, roll call, please.
Yes.
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 That item is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 2, connecting people to the outdoors grant, Clara Beck.
Good morning, council members. Yes, we are going to be seeking some funding for a trail across the dairy property, and this is one of the programs through which we may seek some of that funding. In your packet, the resolution language included the title, Connecting People to the Outdoors. What we're really looking for is just the overall GMR PTC funding round that is currently happening that doesn't have a name on it. Everything else in the resolution language stands. It would be a partnership between GMR PTC and the city for funding for trail costs. So the application is due later this week, which is why this is in front of you this morning. There is a match component. There's not an actual dollar amount to the match, but it is the higher the match, the higher you are ranked, and we can use acquisition and cleanup costs that we've already put into it as our matching amounts. So I'm not asking for any money to go toward this morning. This is just an opportunity for us to explore some trail options. So that is the program, and hopefully you will allow us to submit an application.
Thank you, Claire, for the information and update. Any questions?
I will offer that.
Okay, we have a second.
I have second.
Any other discussion or questions for Clara? Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 That item is approved. Thanks, Clara. Item number 4, underground electrical easement, Brian Navarro.
Thank you. Good morning, Your Honor.
Been a long day, hasn't it?
Just say hello.
Well, good morning. Before you, Otter Tail Power is requesting a 10-foot wide utility easement to facilitate construction of a new underground electric line that will basically serve Roseville Park. The legally attached exhibit, the exhibit illustrates the proposed easement route. This goes across the city-owned property legally described as Lot 3, Block 17, per North Division of Fergus Falls and Reserve 4 of University Park. There is an existing city-owned water main lead in this vicinity. However, we believe adequate separation does exist to allow this easement. So at this time, I'm just requesting authorized city staff to execute Otter Tail Power's easement request. I have attached their request letter and all the exhibits for reference.
Thank you, Brian.
I'll offer that, Your Honor.
Thanks, Jim. We have a second.
I'll second.
Thanks, Caroline. Any other questions or discussion items? The motion to move this to the council on the consent agenda?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pull same sign. That motion's carried. Thanks, Brian. Item number 5, Fergus Falls Municipal Airport Management Agreement Amendment number 1. Brian.
Thank you. Yeah, Sky Screw Services, who is our current manager at the Fergus Falls Municipal Airport, having discussions, and they're requesting a little amendment in regards to monthly compensation transactions between the city and Sky Crew Services. Per the respective articles of the agreement, I'm just going to reference 2 that I've highlighted in your memo there. Article 1, during the term of this agreement, the FBO will be charged monthly rent in the amount of $2,000 for airport use of the T hangars, who the managers, of course. They facilitate and do collection of our T hangers out there. In turn, they pay us a flat rate of $2,000 a month. The other compensation, the city will pay the FPO $90,000 annually for this term. So the monthly management fee that we pay them is $5,500. The other $24,000 we also pay them, but that's also earned through the maintenance and operations. So is what we're simply requesting is Sky Cruise is requesting to forgo the $2,000 payment to the city, and in turn, from Article 4, Item A, the $5,500, they're looking to reduce that to a $3,500 compensation to them. We will not be making any adjustment to the $24,000 reserved for our maintenance and operations, but we've looked at all this, and is what we're requesting a motion directing myself and the city attorney to prepare and execute amendment number 1 to the agreement between Sky Screw Services and the city of Fergus Falls.
Okay.
And I'll for any questions you might have.
I'll offer that.
Thank you, Tom. Do we have a second?
I'll second it. Okay.
Thank you, Brent. Any questions? That's good.
Brian, if you could give an opinion as to just what the advantage is on this, or who has an advantage. As you can see, it's an accounting thing. You know, they give us $2,000 and we give them 5,500, and it's accounting back and forth. But so what? Why even bother making this change? Do they have some tax advantage through this, or is there some advantage to the city in this, or is it just to keep people from having to mail a couple of envelopes, or just what's the advantage here?
I guess from advantage, it's just reduction of transactions from our standpoint. From their standpoint, they made their requests, so I guess that's open for the council if they want to proceed in this manner.
I think this cleans it up probably. We don't have to mail a check and they don't have to mail a check. Or, you know.
bookkeeping for
They still have monthly reporting on fuel and
Yeah.
other reporting that's required in the contract, but from the standpoint, it's simply for transactions.
Yeah.
Everything else is the same.
Yes,
Yeah.
It's just how they're paid and
correct,
how they pay us.
correct.
Okay. I don't see a problem with that.
Good question. Any other questions we have? Everybody, Tom and Brent, you good with moving this to the consent agenda, assuming it moves forward? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion's opposed? Motion's carried.
Thank you.
Do that. Item number 6, Icon Pavement Management System, Brian.
Yes, in 2006, the city of Fergus Falls implemented a pavement management system referred to as ICON. This is a web-based software program that's administered by GoodPoint Technology. This system is utilized by a lot of municipalities throughout the state for pavement management. In general, before you is what we're requesting is a street survey. That is one aspect of this program. Generally consists of a specialized vehicle equipped with a lot of cameras and data collection equipment that will basically travel all of our existing local streets under the jurisdiction of the city. This will include municipal state aid and local streets. It's going to detect all surface deficiencies and map out fatigue cracks, transverse cracks, and it also records quantifies. So with all this data, once it's collected, it will be brought into the computer system, and then it'll be generate as what we refer to as the PCI, Pavement Condition Index. And a PCI for any given street can range from a 100 to, which is excellent, to 0 that has failed. PCIs are used as supplement decision-making aid to determine the most appropriate type of repairs that we do on streets, such as preventive maintenance, seal coats, mill and overlays, also major rehabilitation. This system is also fully compatible with our GIS system. So it's been before you before. We've last done this collection in 2016. They recommend every 4 to 5 years, and I think it's about time to have that system updated. This program, like years past, and this amount before you, it's going to be funded through the city's municipal state aid maintenance funds. There's sufficient funds to execute this agreement. If acceptable, we'll start the survey. They're looking to start a good point, I believe, here in mid-August here. So come winter here, we should have some adequate data, updated data with our master network. So at this time, I'm requesting a resolution accepting GoodPoint Technology Services in an amount of $28,433. And I'll open up to any questions we have.
Thank you, Brian, for.
I'll make that.
Thanks, Brent.
I'll second.
Thanks, Caroline.
Your Honor, quick note, I think that when we get our new communications position up and running, that might be a possible opportunity. I don't know if the residents really have a full understanding of the work that goes into, constantly monitoring street quality and planning around projects, and so perhaps that person would be able to provide some sort of communication that would, we could put on our Facebook page and say, here's all the work that goes into making sure that our roads are in the best condition possible, just to help people get a little better understanding of that. I think would be a really good idea. And I think it's a great idea.
Go ahead, Jim.
Question, Brian. This gives you the roads that are in the worst shape and the ones that we want to do first, correct?
Yeah.
But we're still doing it by ward? Or where would we jump from a ward if we really had a bad street someplace?
That's a good question. The PCIs, when you start looking at PCIs 30 and below, that's a reconstruction. Now, what you're referring to on our annual levy for our mill and overlays, which are preventive maintenance, we're looking for PCIs in the general vicinity, 40 to 50, plus or minus. This program helps us identify those streets. We still look in a given ward. That's our policy for mill and overlays. But then once we get into the wards, we're going to start using this program and start identifying some of the streets based on the PCIs. We still go out and do field reconnaissance to just make sure the data that it's showing is reflected correctly. And that's how we start to make those determinations of what streets and how those funds are going to be spent.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor. Obviously, there's a kind of cost to collect the data, but then is there any further cost for kind of the analysis of it, or can we do that in-house?
We, in the past, I've spent, we do have, Good Point does provide some service, some annual maintenance fees. It's been more conducive in the past. I do have reserve from Braun Intertech, who does have very good familiarity with this program. We do a lot of the input, data input and everything's done by Good Point. Updates and everything are done by city staff in-house.
Right.
But sometimes I'll have a little oversight because I want to make sure the information that's getting put in is not erroneous. So I do have some reserves from Braun Intertech that help us with that program at a more higher end. Just a calibration.
Thanks.
Good information, and thanks for the questions. Without any other questions for us this morning? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pull same sign. Motion's carried, and is that good to go on the consent on Monday night?
Sure. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 7, real estate policy update, Clara Beck.
Thank you. Yes, a few months ago, we started talking about what it looks like when somebody is making an offer to City Council to purchase city-owned property, and the consensus of council at that time was it might be a good idea to have some sort of a policy in place that we can point to that says this is the process, this is how we do it in an open and fair way. So I took a crack at a first draft of a policy. You have a draft of it on your desks this morning, but I can just sort of high level go through it. The purpose of it would be to ensure a consistent open process by which the city sells or releases its real estate for development. I also note that there is in our charter some direction to what it looks like to actually sell property. So we have a requirement that you have to wait 10 days before you can actually act on a sale. So you introduce it at one meeting, wait 10 days, at the next meeting you make your motion on it. I also lay out some procedures for how it could work, which I think we do now, but this at least kind of codifies it. So we have the RFP or RFQ process. If we have a piece of property that we know we would like to have redeveloped in some sort of a certain way, the city can release an RFP or an RFQ. The other option, which is what we've been seeing a lot of in the last couple years, is receiving another proposal. So receiving a proposal from a third party. And I just sort of laid out a process for what that can look like. It needs to come through a letter of intent before council, and it needs to meet certain criteria which are laid out within this draft. So this is sort of just a first glance for you guys, and I'm hoping we can continue the discussion on Monday when you've had more of a chance to look it over, maybe formulate some answers. I have a couple highlighted spots. I'm not sure, like how many days we want between certain acts. And then if you'll also look on the first, I believe it's the first page, or well, somewhere in here it says that the city would get an appraisal done on all property. We do not currently do a full appraisal on all the properties that we are approached on. So I kind of have in my notes just a little question mark next to that. Is that something that we will require, or have we been comfortable getting just a market study as we've done in the past from real estate agents? That's maybe one question I'd like us to discuss for Monday.
I think it's under B. On that first page of B, the last, it says the city should also have the land
Good,
professional
thank you. A
appraised.
city should also, yep,
Is that the spot where you're?
that's the one I'm talking about. So that's a requirement that other cities have. I pulled a lot from other communities who have similar policies already, so I didn't reinvent the wheel by any means, but that's one thing to think about is, do we want to go down the road of professional appraisals each time we're approached, or are we comfortable with market study? So Any questions right off the bat or thoughts that I can jot down before Monday?
Any questions? If not, thanks for the information, and we'll have a good discussion Monday night on
Thank you.
this proposed. Okay. Item number 8, contract for service with Matthew House. Guy Taylor sitting this one.
Morning, thank you, Your Honor. The city was approached by the Matthew House. They're seeking a donation in the amount of $10,000. As it states in the memo, cities do not have authority to just give a donation to a nonprofit organization. So, as you recall, back last fall, R.C. Drews was before you, and he presented some work out at Broken Down Dam Park that needed to be done. So what we've come up with is a project for Matthew House residents to do that work, and then in exchange for the work, they would get the $10,000 in lieu of for those services. So it's not a donation. So that's a request. Todd Hilden from the Matthew House is here if you'd like to ask him any questions. But what it is, there's actually, back in the 30s maybe, Lynn found some notes that the city authorized that area to be a dump site. So there is a lot of metal debris that just needs to be cleaned up. It's down in a ravine. It's not going to be a easy project for the group to complete, but they're open to doing it, and it definitely needs to be done. So it's a worthwhile project, and there is sufficient funds in the Park Department's capital outlay budget to cover the costs.
Okay. Thanks for the update. It sounds like that's a good thing to happen. So thanks for the willingness to do the work and for it to get done. And any questions or comments?
When it comes to removing some of that stuff that'll be particularly difficult, like old car bodies and whatnot, will they provide all their own equipment and whatnot to do it, or will they involve the city to actually help with some of that? How have you got some plan for how that will be done?
Yeah, they've already got some equipment lined up. We'll provide dumpsters and service the dumpsters for them, but they're planning to get their own equipment or have equipment donated for the project and pull all the debris out.
Okay.
I will offer that, Your Honor.
Thanks, Jim.
I'll
Scott,
second.
Okay.
I think it's very good. It's needed to be cleaned, and the gentlemen at the Matthew House need something to do. And I think overall it's a very good project.
Very good.
One question on it. What about insurance? Who's going to cover insurance? Or,
Yeah, the city has insurance that covers volunteers like in this fashion, so we'll be covered that way.
Okay. Well, I agree. It's a good project.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pull same sign. Motion's carried, and is that good to go back on the consent for Monday night?
Yep.
Okay, and then we'll go back to item number 3. Gail will kick us off with an update on the Fergus Falls Library.
Good morning, council people. Thank you. No worries. I like to check in at least once a year with all of you to let you kind of know how the previous year went and what we're working on currently. So the data that I've provided you on the infographic sheet, it's labeled 2022, but it's actually our numbers from 2021. We file those numbers with the state every April, and it takes a little while for those to become official. But you can see that we have 13,000 registered borrowers and 86,847 library visits last year. Number of items checked out, definitely on the uptick again after a couple of down years due to circumstances beyond our control, obviously. And computer use is incredibly high, as is access to digital content, with 32,000 digital items being circulated. And that's probably one of the biggest increases we've seen, are people accessing our online collections remotely. We started issuing library cards online so people can fill out the form. They can have that card mailed to them, or they can stop in and pick it up. We probably are giving out 24 online cards a month, which is really incredible because a few years ago it wasn't even an option. So some of those people we will never physically see in the library, but it's just more convenient for them to get that card sent out to them, and they're obviously accessing our digital collections. This year, when we kicked off our summer reading program in June, we had over 700 people registered for the program on the first day, and we currently have almost 1,500 people registered for the program. I'm going to touch base just a little bit on our extra reading at the library program, which is a tutoring program that's been in place at the Fergus Falls Public Library for about 19 years. This program serves 76 children this year. We hire 5 tutors to work with those kids 30 minutes a week on reading skills. It costs us about $11,000 to run this program, and all of the funds come from grants or donations. So it really demonstrates the support we have in this community to help kids develop their early literacy skills, which we know is extremely important for academic success going forward. The library has 7 full-time employees. We have between 6 and 7 part-time library aides. It just kind of depends on the season. And we have about 14 adult volunteers. And this year, Ariel started a teen volunteer program where we had another about 16 youth sign up to volunteer at the library. We schedule all of our volunteers to minimize overlap and to maximize efficiency. So we really have a lot of people working to make the library a successful, efficient space for people to work and thrive. And these work skills that our volunteers get, especially these youth volunteers, we obviously see this as the potential for people becoming library aides, when they become of age to be employed. So good things happening with that age group. I want to talk a little bit about a few programs that we have coming up. One program was passed, and it was this documentary screening of My Garden of 1,000 Bees. And I have to tell you, you can check this DVD out at the library, or you can watch it on PBS, but you've never seen bees so up close and personal before. And it's really fascinating. If you like nature programs, this is really a wonderful program to watch. I think kids would be fascinated by it as well. We're very excited that we are the host of the We Are Water exhibit for Ottertail County. That will be up mid-August through mid-October. You can stop by any time. It's a walking, self-guided tour. We do anticipate that throughout the county, classrooms and civic groups will be coming to visit that exhibit, so please stop in. There's information for you regarding that. And then on August 3rd, we have a very special author talk with Nathaniel Moyer. Nathaniel grew up in Wendell, Minnesota. He is currently a research associate with Harvard, and he lives and works in New York, but will be in the area in a week, and we're really excited to be able to bring his program to us locally. So please feel free to come to that. And if you have any questions about anything that's happening at the library right now, I'd entertain those. And you're also welcome to stop by the library anytime and visit with me. I would appreciate that. So. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Gail, to you and your staff for everything you guys do at the library. It is an asset in the community, and a lot of people obviously use it. So our family's included in that mix. So you guys do a wonderful job. So thank you for all your work you do and continue to do. With that, miscellaneous announcements. August 1st at 5:30, we'll have our next city council meeting. August 2nd through the 16th. Reminder, there's candidate filing period, which is open during that period. Lynn, do you have anything you want to add for that?
No, there's a $5 filing fee, but the filing will be open in normal city hall hours for a 2-week period of time. So if you want to run for the 4 council seats that are up, that's the time to do it.
Very good. And August 9th, state primary election, and then August 10th is our next committee of the whole. Anything else to come up before us this morning? If not, meeting adjourned. Thank you.